Salvete discipuli. Welcome to chapter 7. Now that you've read through and listened to the rules of pronunciation, I want you to listen to me read through this story and translate it, paying attention to my pronunciation. And also, I'm going to be reviewing case endings while we read through this. Alright. Puella et rosa. And S's in Latin are not like Z's in English. Sometimes, we'll say rose, but they would say rosa. Ecce Marcus et Quintus ante ostium vilae. Pueri Iulium expectant. Mater non est apud filios, ea in peristilo est. Illic virum suum expectat. Aemilia laeta non est, quia Iulius abest, nam Aemilia virum suum amat. Alright, what does that mean? Behold, look, Marcus and Quintus before the door of the house. This is the genitive case ending of the boys are waiting for Julius. It has a UM because it's accusative, a direct object. Mother is not next to her sons. She in the peristylum is. She is in the peristylum. There, she is waiting on her man. Accusative direct object. You don't have to have a word for she, but you can, and it is ea. But the she ending can also be kind of wrapped up and assumed in this verb ending the T. Aemilia laeta non est. Aemilia is not happy because Julius is away. For Aemilia loves her man. Where is Julia? Ubi est Julia? In cubiculo suo est. Julia, quae sola est illic, rosam ante nasum tenet. Puella lacrimat, in oculis eius sunt lacrimae. Where is Julia? She is, and notice there's no word for she in this sentence, it's just wrapped up in the verb. She is in her room. Julia, who is alone there, is holding a rose in front of her nose. And you can translate verbs that end in a T as holds or is holding. We have a lot of different options in English, but they only had one ending in Latin for the present tense. The girl is crying. In her eyes, in eyes her, eius is the genitive case of is ea id, and it means her or his. In her eyes are tears. Julia speculum sumit et ante oculis tenet. Julia picks up her mirror and in front of her eyes she holds. The girl sees, say, herself in the mirror and asks herself, say just means himself, herself, est ne foedus nasus meus? Nasus eus autem formosus non est. Julia rosus lacrimat. Is my nose ugly? Her nose, however, is not pretty. Julia again cries. Sira ostium cubiculi pulsat. Alright, so now we have subject, verb, direct object, and then the genitive. And that means of the room. So Sira knocks on the door of the room. Julia intra. Julia says enter. Sira ostium aperet et in cubiculum intrat. Neque ostium posse claudet. Sira opens the door and enters into the room. Nor does she close the door after herself. Julia siram posse in speculo videt. Julia sees the direct object, Sira, after her in the mirror, or behind herself in the mirror. Sira non videt lacrimas Juliae, nam puella se non vertet. Sira does not see the tears of Julia. That's the genitive. And here's the plural direct object, accusative. For the girl does not turn herself around. Sira dicet, oh, hic est mea puella, veni in hortum, Julia. Sira says, oh, here is my girl. Come into the garden, Julia. And here we have a little graphic talking about the different prepositional phrases and how the ending changes on the word garden. In horto means into the garden, but ex horto takes an O. Ex means out of, and it takes an O ending. And these are the second declension. This is accusative, but ex takes the ablative. Julia imperat, Julia orders, claude ostium, shut the door. Ancilla paret, the maid obeys. Julia, num nasus meus foedus est, sira? Is my nose ugly, sira? Sira dicet, foedus? Ugly? Imo formosus est nasus tuos. That means really not, it's pretty is your nose. Imo is like saying on the contrary, or really not, or not really. Julia se vertet. Julia turns herself around. Jam sira lacrimas vide. Now Sira sees her tears. Direct object accusative. Sira, Sira says, quid est mea Julia? Terge oculos, est laeta. What is it, my Julia? Wipe your eyes, be happy. Nasus tuus tam formosus est quam meus. Your nose is as pretty as mine. But here's her nose, so that's not really that great. Julia, sed nasus tuus non formosus est. But your nose is not pretty. Sira dicet, quid nonne formosus est nasus meus? What? Isn't pretty my nose? Or is it not pretty, my nose? Julia says, imo foedus est. On the contrary, it is ugly. Ecce speculum, sira. Look in the mirror, sira. Julia speculum tenet ante siram. Ante is a preposition. It takes an accusative ending for the object. Quae nasum suum in speculo videt. And here's another prepositional phrase that takes an ablative ending. Julia holds the mirror, direct object, in front of Sira, who sees the verb her nose, direct object, in the mirror. Ancilla oculos claudet tacet. The maid shuts her eyes, direct object, second declension plural, and is quiet. Ecce Julius ad villam advene. Behold, Julius comes to the villa. Servi lecticam ante ostium ponunt. The servants, and they're plural, second declension subject ending, nominative, with a plural verb that ends in nt. So plural nominatives like to have a verb that ends in an nt, not just a t. The servants, the sedan chair, in front of the door, place. Pater filios salutat. Father greets his sons. Salvete filii. Hello, sons. Et a filii salutatur. Salve pater. And by his sons he is greeted. This is the passive voice verb ending. Instead of he greets his sons, now he is greeted by his sons. Hello, Dad. Julius ambulat ad ostium, quod ab ostiario aperitur. Julius walks to the door which is opened, passive voice, by the doorman. Ob is a preposition. It takes an object in the ablative. Dominus per ostium in villam intrat, post eum veniunt, Cyrus et Leander, qui duo sacos portant. The master enters through the door per, another preposition plus an accusative. In villam, in takes the accusative to mean into the house. He enters. Post eum, after himself or behind him, veniunt, come, Cyrus and Leander, qui duo sacos portant, who are carrying two bags, direct objects. Ostiarius post eos ostium claudet. The doorman closes the door after them. This is the plural of he or they, but it's a direct object because of this. It comes after post. Well, it's not a direct object. Technically, it's an object of this preposition. Post eos. That's why it has an accusative ending. Ursus et Davus cum lectica vacua discedunt. Ursus and Dave with the sedan chair empty, leave. Pueri sacos plenos quia servis portantur vident et interrogant, quid inest in sacis? The boys who see the full bags, the boys see the full bags which are carried by the servants. So this has two verbs, and this right here, sacos plenos quia servis portantur, is a big clause. It's got the relative pronoun right here. So vident sacos plenos, they see the direct object, and then we have this relative clause, quia servis portantur, which are carried by the servants. Et interrogant, and they ask, quid inest in sacis? What is in the bags? Julius respondet, in sacco quem Leander portat mala insunt, hic saccum pone Leander. Julius responds, in the bag which Leander is carrying, there are inside apples. There are apples. So insunt is just the verb est or sunt with a little bit added to the front. It's a compound word, just like we have in English, with a prefix added to the main part of the word. So it just means to be in. So in the bag, which, and another relative clause, which Leander is carrying, and then our main verb, the apples are in. Hic saccum pone Leander. Put the bag here, Leander. Leander saccum ponet ante Julium, qui aperit eum. Leander puts the bag in front of Julius, who opens it. Julius, videte pueri, hic saccus plenus malorum est. Look, boys, this bag is full of apples. And this is the genitive plural. All right, I'm going to cut off there because this is probably enough you need to listen to for the day. But I just wanted you to review again how these case endings are used in the sentences. And it all hinges around a subject, a verb, and then you have direct objects and sometimes indirect objects. And even more importantly, objects of these prepositions. And prepositions govern their objects with either accusative or ablative. All right, everybody. I will see you tomorrow.